Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what's going on, buddy?
Here we are again.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You didn't have to tunnel your way here like I said you were going to have to last week, but we did get a little bit of snow.
We did another, well, I don't know, 2-3 inches.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
And then a whole bunch of, mixed sleet and rain and nastiness on top of it.
Yeah. I'm officially tired of winter.
That was the first thing you said as soon as you got here tonight. I'm officially tired of winter.
I've had it. That's enough for me.
I think there's plenty of people that are in that camp.
Yeah, I'm good if we don't get another drop of rain or, well, I guess that'd be certainly the snow. I've had enough. I'm ready for break.
Yeah, it hadn't been too bad. I mean, the worst part was losing power for as long as we did. That's when it gets crappy. I can handle the snow. I can handle the cold. I really like some electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other news, your boy Ben played his last game.
He did
this last weekend, just yesterday.
Yeah. He done.
Yeah.
He gone.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Hell of a career. Like him or hate him, or don't have an opinion either way. The guy has had a phenomenal career. Been playing many, many years, and it's just Pittsburgh fans love him, and it's something to celebrate. It's an accomplishment.
I appreciate the comments you made about Tom Brady when I walked in. You gave him high praise, and just talked about how he's on a completely different plane than Ben. But Ben was.
Yeah, and I completely admire how your imagination gets you through the day. I mean, that's a skill to really value.
I know you just can't stand it.
No, I'd say the same thing about Tom Brady. I mean, that guy, again, love him or hate him, can't argue with his success.
That's right.
The guy's I don't know that. Well, yeah. I mean, they call him the GOAT for a reason, right?
Yeah. Ben's been quite successful. He's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's one seriously tough dude. I'll say
and I
that.
think despite some of the challenges he might have had in his early life with probably some of the same kind of stupid stuff that you and me and others like us got into. It's certainly when you're a professional football player, it's a little bit more high profile.
Right.
Right. So forget all that. Stuff has evolved for him, and there's lots of folks on the team that will say about him that he's been a strong mentor in their life and so on, and that's I don't know why anybody wouldn't want somebody saying something about like that about them.
You betcha.
On their way out.
You betcha.
That's the kind of impression you want to leave.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So he goes out. He made the playoffs, goes out on a high note.
Yeah.
Didn't win the Super Bowl again, but he did win it, and he can take great pride in his contributions that he made in his professional career in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Yeah.
So we didn't come here tonight to talk about Ben Roethlisberger. It's a fine conversation, but that's not why we're here.
Correct.
What are we talking about? Why are we here tonight?
This one got me.
All right.
About a week ago or so, my brother is in the hospital right now, and he's recovering from COVID. He kind of hit the bottom about a week ago. Got the worst of it, and was kind of nip and tuck for a few days there. Unfortunately, all of his all of his numbers are going in the right direction now. But
Good.
couple nights after he was at his low point, he and I chatted on the phone, and he expressed some words to me that touched me deeply. But the biggest thing was this. I'm chatting with him, and he says to me, I just want to hug my wife. Because in the COVID unit that he was in and is in, he could have no visitors,
Right.
including his wife. And he was going through, because he had spent so much time alone and sort of deep in thought about what was going on in his life, and
Right.
feeling so down and so sick and all of that he just decided that he was going to spend some time in his brain thinking through things. And one of his big takeaways, and there were others, but probably the biggest takeaway that he expressed to me was, when I hug my wife, it seems that all of my cares in the world just sort of melt away. And I love to hold her and put myself in a circumstance like that where I can have that kind of human connection with somebody who knows me intimately and deeply loves me, and I deeply love her. And wow, I don't know, just in that circumstance,
No, that's a beautiful thing, man.
it hit me.
Absolutely beautiful thing.
Yeah, and so I said, we gotta spend a few minutes on this, because obviously it doesn't apply just to your wife. If you're a wife, it applies to your husband. It might apply to your children. It might apply to your parents. But the point is, and this is really what I wanted to talk about. Every once in a while in life, we are hit in the face with a 2x4 that says, what's important to you? What is it that is really important to you? For him, it was that, but by extension, it hit me as well, because he passed it on to me.
Well, and what's cool is that, it actually had an impact on you, right? So that experience that he shared with you definitely hit home with you, and I can tell in your voice and your body language, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Because as human beings, and we've talked about this before, the whole touching the stove thing, right? Historically, we're one of those creatures that we have the ability to learn from the experiences of others, right? But yet we seem disinclined to do so.
Right.
We got to touch the damn stove ourselves and feel it's hot. And I think that there's tremendous value in learning from the experiences of others, right? It's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast, passing on the wisdom of the ages. And, stories like this, that's huge, right?
Right.
So, don't wait until you're in the same situation as Kevin's brother to have this same revelation.
Right.
Learn from his experience and avoid all that other nonsense that goes with it. And just to enjoy the good part of what he's sharing with you, and don't have to suffer the same stuff he's suffering through to learn the lesson.
Right. And everybody knows this. Everybody talks about this. You hear it all the time, but sometimes when it touches you personally, like it did him and by association me, you think about, wow, why did that hit me so much? And the other thing that he didn't say is, man, I'm here. I got a lot of time to think, kind of thinking through my life. He didn't say, boy, I wish I could talk about this one more thing with my boss, or I wish I could have answered this email, or I wish I could have finished the project that I was working on at home. What he said was, I wish I could hug my wife. And then the conversation continued, and he went on to say, what's really important to me is my family and my immediate friends, my close immediate friends.
Right.
And I am going to spend the rest of my life not taking any of that for granted, and having taken the time to, first of all, recognize it, second of all, be grateful for it, and third of all, and I have hugged my wife more this week than I have in a long time, and I hug her a lot. So this is cool.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Well, and I'm a hugger.
You're
anyways,
a hugger,
right?
You're a hugger.
We laugh and joke about saying hello and goodbye at a Strength and Honor motorcycle club gathering. It takes a half an hour to say hello everybody in half an hour to say goodbye.
Right.
Or more.
Right.
Right? Because don't be doing a damn Irish exit on us and leaving without saying goodbye and giving us a hug. That's important, man. It's a way to show someone that you care about them.
Right.
And especially when you're dealing with your spouse. It's a safety and security thing. It's a comfort thing. There's some physiological effects with serotonin and so on, other, positive brain chemicals that are released.
Right.
That help to increase happiness and things of that nature. So, yeah, I mean, hugs are powerful, and I'm like you. I hug my wife a lot, anyways.
Right.
And it's certainly more. It's always comforting, and it's even more comforting when there's something bad going on.
Yeah.
That you're both, especially when you're both dealing with it.
Right.
Or even when only one of you is and the other one can be there and provide that level of support for the other one.
Yeah, and what was as I was walking out the door to come here, my wife was busy. She was on a video conference, work related, and my daughter was there as well, and she knew where I was coming, and she said, "What's the topic today? What's the topic of the podcast?" And I said, "Hug your wife." And she kind of sat there and she goes, "Wow, that's pretty cool." And I didn't tell her anything about where it came from. But I said, "I'll hug you" as I head out the door. And she stood up. And what reminded me of it is what you just said. The goodness that comes from that. All of that. I don't know what's going on chemically.
Oh, it's great, man.
But,
it's
all
great.
these. I know. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and the many times that I have hugged my wife this week thinking about this topic, it really does, it does you so much good. And so, obviously, husbands, take the time to hug your wives. Wives, take the time to hug your husbands, your children, your parents, all of these people who have given you so much in life. Take a minute to recognize it, be grateful for it, and hug them.
Yeah.
And
and anybody that's listening or watching that's out there in the public safety community, I know you've had these experiences where you've gone to a bad call and seen some things that kind of rattled you, especially when maybe a child's involved, and how you come home and maybe it's middle of the night, your family's still sleeping, and you just kind of look at your kids and make sure they're okay. And you just want to grab them and hug them, and maybe you do, but might not want to wake them up at that particular point in time. But when you see things like that happen, it has an impact on you and causes you to realize the value of what you have, and that's important.
Absolutely. And there's another aspect to this that I want to cover, because I think this topic can be maybe a catalyst for healing. And what I mean by that is I know there are people, because I know people like this, who wish they could hug somebody, but they can't because of a broken relationship or because of a strained relationship, and they just don't feel like that they can cross those boundaries and make that hug. And that reminded me of, sorry, I had to keep that thing fresh. It reminded me of, and I think about this all the time, actually. The Alcoholics Anonymous have the 12-step process.
Yeah.
And one of their steps is make amends with people who you've harmed over time, and reach out to them. And even though it may not come back to you, at least immediately, I think it always comes back to you later psychologically. But if the people are not willing to forgive you, or whatever happened in your life, if you are in one of those circumstances, it is worth the time and the effort to try to close that gap, and go to those people and say, boy, I've made some mistakes, I've done some bad things, it's created this strain, and just try to close the gap. And then maybe that gets to the point where you can hug again. It could be, like I said, a catalyst for some healing.
Yeah, and even if you can't get to the point where you can go and actually deliver that hug, just forgiveness is important, and forgiving yourself for whatever it is in that situation that you're talking about. And one of the things that I've heard people suggest is writing a letter to that person. And you may or may not send it.
Right.
Right. But the act of writing it
Right.
and getting it off your heart and off your head onto that paper is beneficial and can promote healing within you, because, carrying that around is not a healthy thing.
And not only that, I think when you do something like that, even if you don't send it, you're putting those vibes out there. You are putting that out there to the universe that you are trying to address this, or you are addressing this. And that, I think that's helpful and comes back to you as well. So lots of good stuff that can come from something like this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
yeah.
Great topic, man. Great discussion. I appreciate you sharing that. And I know, obviously that's a personal story for you because of your brother and what he's been dealing with. And I appreciate you sharing it. And we certainly, I wish him the best in his recovery, and hope that all goes well and he's back and up to doing his normal things in short order.
Thank you very much. And I'm gonna he's always interested in what we're talking about, and I haven't told him that I was going to do this, and so I look forward to doing that and telling him, and I know that he'll enjoy it. But it's just a reminder, at the end of the day, love rules all, doesn't it? The love that you have for your family and friends, that's it. All the rest of it pales in comparison. All of us want to make a contribution. All of us want to leave the world a better place than we found it. And that stuff is important, but at the end of the day, love rules all. And
I think that's the master lesson we're here to learn.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it certainly causes you to think.
Yeah.
And I think that, we've talked in many episodes, and I think even recently about the passion and purpose episode on the power of reflection.
Yeah.
And this is another one of those things that it's powerful to reflect on what really matters to you.
Right.
At the end of the day, or when things get really shitty, who's going to be there for you? Who do you value time with? And maybe it's your immediate family, maybe there's friends, maybe it's a spouse, but man, make sure that you're giving them the time that they need and that you both deserve, because that's a mutual thing. And time is the greatest gift that you can give anyone.
That's right. Yeah, so I hope that that some folks listening, and I believe that will be the case, will take the time to give your spouse, give your child, give your parent an extra hug, and allow that to heal not only you but them as well. And there you go. That's today's topic.
All right. Well, it's a good one.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you suggesting it and sharing that story with us.
Absolutely.
All right. So there you have your mission, folks. Go out there and hug the people you care about.
That's right.
And make sure they know it. They know how much you care about them, because that's important. And until next time, I'm going to reach over here and touch this button this time, because
Okay.
I'm remembering this now.
Okay.
No matter who you are, where you are, or what you're doing, take time to hug those that you love, and make sure between this podcast and the next, you make time to enjoy the ride.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.